Welcome to a very sweaty episode 463 of the Tilehurst podcast. It is about 48 degrees here in Tilehurst. Don't know what it is in Portland, Maine. Don't really care.
No.
I am very, very hot already. I love it. I do love it. What I also love is Redden Football Club. And here to talk about all the latest news with me this week, a little bit later than advertised, is Mr. Ross Webber. He's got his 3 Lions on. We're going to talk about the World Cup later on. We've got a couple of guests coming on, which is very, very exciting. However, Ross, let's talk about you and how you're currently feeling. I don't know why I said that so seriously.
Just in general, or just, I'm guessing about the 3 Lions, but just in general. I'm
whatever.
doing great, Ben. I'm having a lovely week. I've been working soccer camp all week, so I've been out on the field. I think I'm close. I think I'm past 40 hours on the field this week so far, and it's Friday. So it's been a very busy week of football, and can't complain at all. That's exactly what you want it to be, right? And now we have more exciting news to discuss on the men's side, obviously, and still things happening in the background on the women's side.
Well, we've made a friggin' transfer, which we're going to talk about a little bit later on. Before we do that, massive thanks to the Amazons for their donation of their smash hit single, My Blood. They've got some new material coming out, actually. If you follow them on their socials, they've got some new stuff coming out. I think they're doing a couple of shows and festivals and stuff over the summer period. Massive thanks as well to Siren Craft Brew. They have... Well, they denoted me another pack, and I've actually got here a Pachanga Mexican lager, and I've also got my Mexican shirt on.
Yeah, it's very nice. Now, why are you exclusively wearing shirts of teams that either I don't like, i.e. France, or teams that England might have to play in the tournament? Is that intentional?
It's just a really sickening coincidence, to be honest.
Yeah, you've just been a big fan of Mexico all your life, basically. So, hey,
to be fair, right? So I'm a really, so just to clarify, so someone called me childish or pathetic or useless or something on YouTube. Fine, it's water off a badger's back, mate. Because I was wearing a France shirt. What I go for is the badges. So this is one of the training tops they had, and it's got almost like a snake pattern down the middle.
Yeah, it's cool.
But this badge, they don't wear this badge anymore, but it's like, I don't know if you can see that, but it's like the old badge. And it's got like the bird on top and the actual full-on kind of what I call the 80s football.
Yeah.
And I just find this badge iconic. So this was a bargain off Vinted. Do you have Vinted in America?
No, but I think I think we have. Although, actually, to be honest with you, do you know where I buy most of my football shirts in this day and age? Is eBay. Like, I buy a lot of shirts on eBay. And then in the last few years, like, I kind of started like a big, obviously, like, people who are watching the podcast and have been like, know that I have all these shirts and things in the background here, and you and I both like a shirt, and there's shirts on the rack and stuff like that over there. I kind of like started really collecting them. Like, I've always been collecting them, but I started really going for it like 6 or 7 years ago now. And the best thing about that hobby is that it's given everyone who would like to purchase me a birthday or Christmas gift or something. It's given them an easy thing to do. So in the last like year or so, I would say that I've still actually picked up quite a few new shirts, but I haven't paid for many of them. Most of them have been gifted to me, which has been a wonderful thing. So start your own kit collection, not you, but people in general, and then people will just start giving you things sometimes if you're nice.
So so Vinted's really good. I think a lot of people listening to this well, they should know about Vinted, but also I think a lot of people buy shirts off Vinted as well. This was like 15 quid or something, and it's in really good nick. So happy days. So it is genuinely coincidence that Mexico will end up in England's bracket, or should end up in England's bracket if as it stands goes through. So I'm not.
Hey, mate, I'm wearing a Phil Foden shirt, so I'm just damning us in the same way. It's not, not anything better there. Anyway,
I don't want people to think I'm going down this whole sad, because I'm not a Scotland fan, but Scottish fans, when they turn up in flipping Panama shirts and Croatian shirts, that is embarrassing. So that's not me. I do love a badge, but I will not turn up in an Ecuador shirt next week. Put it that way.
All right, that's good. That's good to hear.
We got some signings to talk about. We've got a few bits and bobs. We've got some stuff in Listeners' Corner as well. So we're going to do that. And also we've got a very special World Cup waffle coming up with the guys, Shawn and Charles. Lovely names, just roll off the tongue. from the Friggin Soccer Show. So we're gonna talk to them later on in the episode. This is 463 of your Tilehurst End podcast. We are going to get right into the latest news in a new segment I like to call News Nuggets.
You didn't tell me you were going to do that. Fucking hell.
Right, so welcome back to episode 463. News Nuggets. News Nuggets. Completely made it up. Where should we start? Should we talk about the semi-bad stuff first of all? Let's talk about Des. Sort of came out of nowhere, really, that news. It was an interesting one because he's had his injuries, obviously. He's been a bit up and down with us. Let's be honest, it probably didn't work out the way anyone wanted it to, mainly for him, but also at the club. Good player when he did play. You could see there was a very, I say sensible football brain, but a very good understanding of how to read the game, particularly at this level. He is now, I was just going to say retired.
Just can't hack it. He just doesn't want to have to deal with this anymore.
Fed up. Royal Berkshire, get lost. Yeah. I suppose the first question is where do we go from here without being dramatic in terms of him retiring and leaving the club altogether?
Look, I think that the thing that's going to make it not as big a hit as it could be is the fact that Ben Ward was bought in January and looks to be the man who is going to be starting alongside Porty O'Connor. Now, I want to kind of stop and say I really enjoyed Des this year, and I think you did as well. I think we both
liked him a lot,
especially in the first half of the season. I think that we were both very, very positive about him. He spent the last 4 years of his career before coming to back to England and to Reading. In America, he is half American, I think. He's a very interesting lad because he's half American, half Irish, born in Germany. All over the place. But in any case, I think that a lot of players, Rob Holding has spoken about this. He's out, I can't remember if he plays in Colorado or Utah, but he plays in the MLS, and he's spoken about how he wanted to go out and do that, in the latter half of his career, but he didn't want to go like when he was like, 32 or 33 as Des is now. Like he wanted to go when he was in his like late 20s so that he would still have, something to give at that kind of higher level. And I kind of got the sense that like that was almost like what Des was doing, when you look back at his career, and that he went off to the Galaxy and then DC United, Atlanta United, and played in the States for 4 years. I wonder if he wanted to have that extra experience of playing in a different country, before coming back to the UK. So I actually kind of like when I think about it in those terms, it does make a little bit of sense that Des has retired now just because, he got his last season in England. But I think for me, and I don't know how you feel about this, it seems like the injuries have just started to get the better of him, especially the one that kind of was niggling and keeping him out of most of the back half of the season. I wonder if that one is just either worse than, even Des expected it to be, or if it's the kind of injury that you could keep playing on it for another 2 years, but it would seriously affect the quality of your life, after retirement from football. So I wonder if he's made that decision for family reasons.
I mean, a really childish person would say that it's the curse of Bearwood again. Those ghost geese that had to be moved to build the actual training ground itself. Right. Really, really stupid, immature person would say that, given the amount of injuries we've had at the club over the last, since Bearwood was created, I think. But in all seriousness, I think it is a surprise. You don't get many players that retire at 32. The care for them. And
33, but he's 30.
That's still relatively young in the game, isn't it? Really, I know there's a lot of players, or a couple of players at the World Cup that are 40 odd, which puts me to shame. But there is an element of this coming out of the blue, and I guess really the club have to look at whether they go Ben Ward and Porty O'Connor are our starting pair 100%, which I think is something in there. I wasn't hugely impressed with Porty last season. I know he didn't have a great start with the injuries. I just felt that he was always a bit vulnerable to the counter-attack. His pace wasn't great. Yeah. Ben Ward looks a really, really good player. Very, very pleased with that signing. But again, he's had his own injury problems. So it's whether or not they can actually get those two on the same page in terms of fitness and really get 40 plus games out of that pairing, which all good sides have in terms of a centre back partnership. That's the rock. Or whether or not they go, look, we're going to have to go and get another, two centre backs as a backup pairing.
Yeah,
or if there's players they're bringing through from the under 21s, because centre backs take a pounding. Same with central midfielders as well. And actually, you need depth in that area, but you need that partnership and that rotation that we're going to have, or going to need to have, particularly for the whatever the cup is called these days. The group stage. We're going to need to rotate those players, and it's going to be a very, very physical league this season. They're going to come up against some real big boys up top. So, it's not ideal, because the club will then have to go, well, we needed 5 players anyway. We're looking at potentially another 2 on top of that. And I don't think anyone would have seen that coming, personally.
I suppose that's the question for you. I'm literally going to ask you another question immediately, but are you comfortable starting the season with, maybe you bring in like academy players and stuff to back them up, and the first 2 months of the season sometimes the squad often looks a little bit odd compared to how things actually end up. But would you be comfortable going into the season with the 3, like if we're playing a back 4, the 3 centre backs who are most often rotating are Ben Ward, Paddy O'Connor, and Gerald Dorset?
No, not at all. I mean, look, we could do a whole podcast about Dorset. He has improved. I don't see it personally. I don't see him being the answer to a lot of the kind of questions we have defensively. I think it's a hard sell to go into this season, given the expectation of the fan base, but also think about where we are as a club and where we want to be with those 3 players at centre back. I think it's going to be very, very difficult. Yeah. And unless something changes at fullback, you would imagine that Dorset would be, one of the starting players in that back 4 anyway. So no, I'm not comfortable with that at all. And I think with Stickland going, regardless of how people view him, we're now light in that area.
Sorry, that was going to be my question to you next, was kind of like which of the young centre backs who have been around the club might we see in pre-season, especially?
Well, I like Dewar. I like Philip Dewar a lot. Yeah. I think I saw him a few times last season. I know Bobbins watched him a lot as well, and he rates him very highly. Very physical player. Pace-wise is okay. Reads the game reasonably well for a youth player. So, he's the one that really you'd look at. I mean, we talked a little bit last week around those, those pre-season fixtures, and actually I think it's a really, really good opportunity to say to that core of under 21 players, just have 45 minutes, 60 minutes, whatever, to see what they can do in a semi-competitive game, because we talk to death around the standard of under 18s and under 21s. I think one of the benefits, and I've always said it about being in this league, is that we do get to compete in the cup. I literally can't remember its name. What's it called? The
Car Cup. Doesn't really matter. It's the Car Cup.
You know what I mean, though?
I know exactly what you mean. Real quick. Just alongside like the Hearts League being called League One in the same way that ours is, there is a Car Cup that they compete in over here as well.
There you go. Similarities are unreal.
They call it the Pump Up Your Tires Cup. Which is what they're going with right now. I did just confirm, by the way, I the reason I went a bit quiet there and I was looking over here is because I was trying to work out and confirm which of the kind of under 21 players, the centre backs, are still with the club. And so the 2 that I would really be looking at in pre-season, Philip Dewar, as you said, is one of them. Abraham Kanu has just come back from an entire season on loan at Forest Green Rovers with Robbie down there. So I think that's going to be at least someone that the club is going to want to take a look at, in pre-season. One of those, I think they can manage it right, could really change our season.
Yeah, look, I think they can manage it. I just feel with the league the way it is.
Kanu started 34 games last season.
It's competitive football, right? And you're going to learn a lot from that. Mm-hmm. You really are going to improve. And I know Robbie kind of certainly in the first part of the season was very, very happy with how he was doing. 34 games is decent. That's a pretty good return. But again, there was a reason that he was sent out on loan because he had an all right start to last season. But or the season before, whenever it was. But then you could see those kind of frailties coming into his game and how that looks. So, look, I think we need to strengthen. I think we're still in that mode. You know, we're going to talk a little bit around Abrefa. Obviously, Renamoto has come back in as well. I know we're not talking about defence anymore, but one player that we have signed permanently. Is it early? I suppose it's not. We're 2 and a bit months into the off season. Is Kyrie's Lisbie, and this was a player that was first brought to our attention in January when that kind of saga rolled on towards the deadline day or the deadline closing or whatever. Is that a good signing for us, Ross?
Yeah, I think that it's one that has the potential to be pretty exciting. And I think that the club certainly think that it's pretty exciting as well. I think we know that Kyrie's Lisbie almost certainly wanted to come to Reading in January. And wasn't able to do that. I think, and a lot of this is from reporting, so obviously go research it yourself. Something that I heard about this, kind of wild, is that there was a ownership group that were looking at taking over Colchester, where Lisbie has come from at the time, that included Alexandre Pato, the Brazil retired forward. Yeah, and they basically said, no, don't sell, the club's best player. And shut that down. That ownership group did not end up taking over Colchester, and Kyrie Lisbie has now completed. And I think you don't really need to be a genius to look at some of his Instagram posts and things to see that, he's been talking about us. He's been saying he wants to go and stuff like that. The worry with him, forget about the worry for a minute. Let's just talk about what he is. He is a forward who can play kind of anywhere across the front three if we're playing a 4-2-3-1, but he has mostly played at right wing over the past year or so. So in that position, towards the end of the season, we mostly had Daniel Chirwa, but we know that Chirwa can play on the left side again. So if we end up playing with a 3-4-3, something like that, then we may end up with, Chirwa as the left 10 and Lisbie as the right 10 behind Marriott. And that's a pretty good lineup. He could also play, like I said, in a 4-2-3-1 as the right winger. The worry, just to get back to that with him, is that he really, really did drop off in the second half of the season. I do think that a large part of that was caused by having his head turned a little bit and one.
Yeah, 100. I was going to say that. I get what you're saying, and I think a lot of people have mentioned that, but I don't see that as a huge issue really. If you look at what got him to that kind of rumour mill in January, his form and the way he was playing. Look, everyone does that in a job. If they know that something better is out there and they can't do it, or they're not allowed to leave, or they've got to wait, it does something mentally. So I don't think that's a big issue. One thing I would say about the signing, it's not, I don't want to go down this route of marquee signing because we're in League One, but what I would say is that there were a lot of other clubs interested, and that doesn't necessarily mean that he's an amazing player. I'm sure he will be good for us, but from a morale point of view within the fan base, but also the pull of the club, to be able to beat other clubs that potentially, in inverted commas, bigger than us, Sheffield 100%. Wednesday, for example.
Yeah,
that's
been a
decent.
long time, right? It's been a long time since we could do this. Yeah, no, which is great.
It's positive. Obviously, Abrefa has re-signed as well. Surprised by that one?
I was a little bit surprised, just because he obviously wasn't really part of the team for a large part of 2026. I mean, he was. Sent into the Ryan Niambe wilderness. It was right, this guy I brought in that I know is going to be playing in your position now, Kelvin, and off you pop until, what was it, May? I think it was the first day of May, was it, that we finished? Maybe, I don't know, it was close to the start of May. But in any case, I was a little bit surprised. But the thing is, right, so I think about him in the same kind of way that I think about Porty O'Connor to a degree, in that as an all-rounder, right? We talk about it in cricket, right? You don't talk about it in football, really. But as an all-rounder, I think you can spot clear flaws in Porty O'Connor's game, and I think you can spot clear flaws in Kelvin Abrefa's game as well. However, they have a thing that they do that is exceptional, right? So with Porty, it is kind of winning the ball in the air. He is exceptionally good at that. And with Abrefa, I think versus all of the other right wing backs that we've seen over the last little while, he has a better sense of when to check and when to go, trying to get down the line and support, the forwards and things like that. I also, I think that he is an incredibly technical player. If you get to watch him, kind of like behind the scenes in practice sorts of things, you can see some very technically proficient stuff from Kelvin Abrefa, and I think that that's someone who can help you move the ball quickly in triangles, on the wing to get it down if you want to attack down the wing. And then lastly, the last thing I'll say is I wonder how much this signing has been influenced, or this re-signing of Abrefa has been influenced by signing Lisbie, in that they will have looked at Lisbie, seen that he is a guy who's going to be playing on the right side. Presumably Abrefa would be either behind him or like out wider of him as the wing back. And so I wonder if what they're looking at is, this is a player who could work quite nicely with Lisbie. Let's re-sign him and try that out.
Look, what do we need in the team? We need consistency, but we need connections with the players. And actually, I have no issues with Abrefa getting forward and trying to do stuff.
Yeah,
attack
wise.
wise.
When it's in his own box, he's got a defense.
Yeah, I don't think he can defend.
Yeah,
to be honest, this is the fundamental issue. I honestly think that being a right back or left back in a four is one of the most difficult positions on the pitch, because you've got to be athletic. The expectation is you link up with your winger and you get forward and you give them the ball, and what do we talk about, and what will we talk about later on with the guys? Look at England, Jed Spence and Gordon didn't work in a week, right? So you have to have that relationship, you have to have that give and go, and you have to be able to tuck inside of each other all the time. Abrefa's not had the opportunity. Now, with Yedom out of the picture, you would expect Abrefa to now be right back is my starting pot, and that is what I'm going for. He should be, if he's really kicking on, one of the first names on the team sheet. Should, in theory.
Yeah.
So it's a big season for him. It's a big pre-season for him. The fact he's chosen to sign, or re-sign rather, or stay, means that he's obviously committed to it. But it is a big season for him. I still don't think he can defend. That then relies on the centre-backs getting him out of jail at times. But look, we've seen players improve over the years. He can be one of them. But he's really got to show it now. He really, really has to. Because the patience will evaporate if it doesn't.
Not that I want to, because I think after the World Cup we can debate this more, and otherwise you get into the sense where you start debating every single time you're on the podcast. But I've just kind of scribbled out while you were chatting there, kind of what our starting lineup could look like right now if it was using that sort of back three with Abrefa kind of on the high right side. We saw a slightly similar thing against Blackpool, and obviously we lost to Blackpool, so didn't go particularly well. And but anyway, let me just read this out, because I think it paints a pretty good picture of where our other marquee signings need to be this summer. So if you went with the back three, you could have Ward on the left of it, Porty O'Connor on the right side of it. The part where you're going to go is Dorset in the middle of it. That's where you probably need a new person who can hold that space down. I'd feel better with Des Williams in that spot, personally. And then you could use Hayden Roberts as the left-sided wing-back. Obviously, he already kind of plays sometimes in the left wing spot in the 4-2-3-1, despite saying when he arrived that his favourite position was centre-back. We try not to think about it. Abrefa as the right wing-back. You then play Rhino and wing in the middle. Chiawar as the left 10. Lisbie as the
Whoa. Where's Charlie gone?
Well, Charlie, I thought you and I are still sort of assuming that Charlie won't last the summer.
Okay, question. Quick reality check. Has he actually left?
No, he hasn't. All right, fine.
Then shut your face.
I would probably... Well, no, let's not have that debate. Whatever. Rhino / Sav / Fraser alongside wing, basically. And I
don't want Fraser anywhere near the team. I really don't.
I just wanted to wind you up, and I successfully did that. But anyway,
yeah, you dropping Savage and putting Fraser in. Oh my god!
No, I'm not. Don't worry. I wouldn't drop. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. Anyway, it's been a while since I've seen Reading Football Club play something that is
just
football.
Breaking news for you: Dembele's just scored an absolute rocket.
Oh yeah, Zazie. Well, there you go. World Cup rambles coming later, not right now. Don't. Well,
I'm watching it now.
Yeah, of course. That's a problem.
Right. So we've done the big ones. Fixtures. We haven't really talked about the fixtures. I mean, in shocking turn of events, we play every team twice. which
That's
I don't
wild.
think anyone saw coming, to be honest with you.
Fixture release day. It doesn't matter.
Season opener. What do they call it in America? What's it?
Oh, well, no, a season opener and then a home opener. Like a home opener would be your first home.
Opener is the phrase. Okay.
Yeah, opening day, like sometimes, but yeah, it would be an opener.
Opening day, fine. So we have Luton at home at 12:30. Flipping hate a 12:30 kickoff anyway, let alone the first game of the season. I like being at home. I love being at home on the first game of the season, but.
Oh, I thought you were just saying in general. I like being at home. I do like.
No, well,
I
think it'd be good because it'd be the first. I mean, no one's going to go to that Charlton game, are they? So it'd be the first time people step in. They see the new pitch. They see their blue seat is actually blue and not a weird shade of bluey white, whatever that colour is.
Distressed.
But you know, you're distressed out, washed out blue, denim blue.
Denim blue. There we go.
Denim blue seats, but now it's going to be shiny blue. You know, Luton at home. Oxford's been moved because it's Reading Festival weekend. So they've shifted that, I think, to a midweek game now, which is probably not a bad thing given the history between the two clubs and the fans in particular.
I'd love to... This is not interesting at all, so I'm sorry. But, like, I would love to know after, like, fixture release day, like, let's say, like, we get fixture release day and then compare that list to the list of games that actually got played at the end of the season. And
exactly. Like, what percentage
of those games never happened on the day they say. Because I just despise fixture release day. I'm especially when it's because it always comes during an international tournament when it's in a year that's happening, and it's like I'm trying to enjoy the World Cup over here. Get away. I don't care about Bromley. Go away. Like, I'm trying to watch Mexico and you're trying to show me Fleetwood. Like, what are we doing here? I don't care. Like, I'm sorry. I don't care about
But have you seen the Oxford United, on the subject of Oxford, guess who their new manager? Well, guess. Do you know who their new manager is?
I'll guess is it Sven-Goran Eriksson?
Aaron Ramsey.
Oh, interesting.
And I think, I don't know if I mean, it would be a weird dream, but I think Chris Gunter is going to be his assistant manager.
Oh, well, I don't like that.
And I don't know what to do with that.
No. You're losing all
What
your
am I
favourite...
supposed to do with that?
Yeah, enjoy that.
Like,
well, no, when
well, yeah, but I mean, two of my favourite players, and they're
two of your boys.
Blimmin' Oxford.
Yeah.
Can't even cope.
At least we get to play them again next year, right? At least we get to play them again. So that's good. Yeah.
I don't really have anything else to say about a fixture list. It is what it is. You're right, it's going to change. The group's been done. We've got Chelsea under 21s, we've got Bristol Rovers, we've got Wickham, I believe, in whatever that group is. Can
I summarise the segment of news nuggets just by going very briefly back to Lisbie?
Yeah, if you want.
I just want to say, I do think that's I wanted to just like reiterate, because I kind of spoke about what he is and the worry and whatever, but what he is a player who scored quite a lot of goals last season and got quite a few assists as well. And we've been talking for years about trying to replace Femi Aziz, which we've never particularly managed to do. And this looks like a real attempt from the club to try to do that. So this, sometimes Kuig and others who are in the management group get kind of pilloried online for, being cheap or whatever. Even though they have laid out how much they can spend within the rules of the league many, many times for us now. I think this is a real statement of intent. I think if you take this and Ben Ward together, buying two of the hottest players from League Two last season, this is the kind of transfer that we as Reading fans have talked about wanting to see for a very long time. Two young guys that have done very well in the league below. I think it's a statement of intent to go and get Lisbie. So yeah, I'm excited about that.
I'm actually Googling Chris Gunter. He's the under-19s coach at Wales. I read somewhere that he's there you go. He is expected to be joined by Chris Gunter, his former Wales teammate, on his coaching team. So it's not been confirmed as yet, but it's expected. He's currently doing the under-19s championships wherever that is. Yeah. I'm going to get over it now. I'm going to move on. We've got a listener's corner to do, so we'll do that now. We're going to take a short break. I'm going to take a swig of my Mexican lager from Siren Craft Brew. Lovely. So I'm going to do right now.
Swig it.
It's nice, a bit warm now. And we're going to head to listener's corner. Right. We put this out really late because we were.
Weird.
I don't know what we were doing really. I mean, I've no idea.
It's the off season,
But
whatever.
there's a few bits. There's a few pieces in there.
Yep.
Chris Scott, your mate Ross.
Oh, what's up, Chris?
What
I'm
up,
gonna be nice
Chris?
to him this season. Don't worry, I'll be nice
The-
to Chris.
This is a difficult one for me to answer because obviously I'm still a bit sad by all this.
Yeah.
The owners said they would revamp Royals TV.
Yep. Okay.
I was there.
Yep. You
I was
were.
the face. I was the face of it. I was the voice of it.
Yeah.
And social media in general. But since their arrival, social content has decreased. Also, no training footage since LR came in. Has he stopped it? Social engagement is key for all clubs, but ours is seriously lacking. Missing a trick. Well, difficult one for me to answer. I mean, a difficult one for us to answer in general.
It's a good question though. It's a little bit different.
It's a really good question,
Well,
and
yeah.
and actually, one of the things that's interesting about Liam is that, well, not interesting. It's flipping irritating, to be honest. But you know, when he kind of said, "I'm not going to talk about injuries. I'm not going to give you timelines, all this kind of stuff." I wonder if he kind of said the same thing about training. What I love, right, is one of the things I love about American sports and American social media is so like let's go the Timberwolves, who are my basketball team. Last year or the year before, I can't remember, they were basically getting on a plane to go somewhere.
Yeah.
And all the guy did was, you're at a petrol station or gas station, whatever you guys call
Gas
petroleum
station,
fluid.
Yep.
What one drink and what one snack are you getting? And they just had to answer it and then get on a plane. I was like, I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's
That is good.
that stuff is real quick win, right?
Yeah,
It's stupid, it's pointless, it's not connected to the sport, but it's funny and it's
Yeah.
engaging. So one of the best things I've ever seen was inside the Tottenham training ground dressing room, where they were talking about, is there more doors or windows in the world? And it was Ben Davis, Harry
I remember
Kane,
that.
and
Yeah,
Son, and they were having this ridiculous debate that was like 5 or 6 minutes, but
Yeah.
it was fascinating, and they were like properly into it. So having that kind of stuff and that connection, and maybe it will develop this year. Like I think Phil is good. I like Phil. You know, I think he's got some great ideas. I don't
And
know.
I like that they built a little studio. I like
Yeah,
that that's
exactly
good and
right,
They have
exactly.
that place to interview. I do think what I'll say is I think occasionally that makes it like you're more tempted to like, well, we've got the space, we want to like use it like all the time, which is a completely fine. Like I could see myself if I was working in that media department making the same decision. But what you've just mentioned about like the windows and doors thing, I think with social content like that, you don't even need to be that creative. You just need to know which trends you can jump on that will hit for a certain segment of your fan base. And like there will always be people who are like, oh, I don't care about silly social media marketing stuff, like whatever. But at the same time, like I think sometimes people forget that it can help you build up that connection with the player behind the player, right? So like part of why I love Yaku Mete so much is because there was tons and tons of like training footage of him being a menace with like his teammates and stuff, like making them dance, like doing all kinds of like funny little tricks and things like that. I like
Rashisha.
Yeah, like having that kind of like access is always interesting to see. So, yeah. I don't. Really
I think people only remember the recent history, don't they? And actually, when you think about that social media department, the media department in general at the club, it's been really turbulent over the last few years. And putting my personal feelings aside about some of the individuals that work there, I feel they were let down over a long period of time under Dye, and they weren't given the resources and they weren't given the scope. 100%. And there wasn't a lot of people in the department. I think there was only one at one point. Right. So now they're kind of building it up, and I think there have been improvements on Royals TV. I think there have been some things that have worked well. I think there are things that have not worked well.
I've had Royals TV for 5 years, and you can't tell me that last year wasn't the best year of.
No, exactly, and I think that taking myself out of the equation, like there have been improvements there, but I know that there is a desire amongst, particularly some of the team within the group that want to do good stuff, and I think the summer's been really dry. That I really like the stuff about the stadium, but actually now when the players come back, I think it's on Monday they come back. Hopefully they can flex their muscles a little bit and really kick on. And it's difficult, I think it's difficult working in a social media department of a football club, because you've got to get the best out of those players away from the football. Anyone can film what's going on the pitch and talk about it, but actually it's like you said, it's that interesting stuff that we want to see as fans. So I think this season is a big one for them. I really do, and I know they will have some ideas and how to push things forward. Just got to give them a chance, really. We're still in a settling in period of a new ownership group. Same with the media guys. So I get what Chris is saying, but I also think there will be things that they've got planned that they will want to be doing and really kick on. But it's a really good question.
Yeah,
it's a really good question.
A fun one to talk about.
Yeah. Max Derbyshire, if we buy some great players and have a solid pre-season, will Liam change his style of play, or will we just naturally play better and more exciting football because we'd have improved players that are fitter?
Yeah, I mean, I think that Liam is going to have us play margins ball the whole time we're under him. And what I mean by that is he's just going to try to keep the game tight and win in the margins, set pieces and things like that. Or having the ability to have Wing throw the ball forward for Mario, because he is very, very good at that. But I think under Liam, you're not going to see that different of a style at any point. I think that we did a little feature on this towards the end of the season, whereby we were reading some things about Wigan from his time there, from fans that obviously watched him get their team promoted, so they have a lot of very positive feelings towards Liam. But even they would say there was never any style or tactics to it. It was, we have better players than you, we can keep it tight and we can win the margins, basically. And look, there's a lot of football teams that do that now. The World Cup for me has actually shown, it's been the Arsenal World Cup, as I think I said last week, because a lot of teams are just trying to do that kind of thing whereby they keep it tight and win the small margins. I think it's a valid way to play football. I don't think it's the most exciting way to play football. So it's not. I think the thing that it makes you dangerous for you as a manager is that as soon as that starts to go wrong results-wise, you get real vitriol very quickly. And there was obviously 5 weeks of bad results at the end of last season that tanked, Reading's season. It was only 5 weeks, right? It was only a month of really bad results. But a lot of people, including myself and yourself, were Liam's got to go now because there's no clear path forward here. So yeah, I'm kind of interested to see where it ends up next year, but I don't think there'll be any change in style. I think Liam's going to keep pounding his head against the wall.
100%. Yeah. I'm just looking at this. This game is chaos, by the way.
Yeah.
All right, France just scored a second goal,
right?
And Norway have just got one back. So they've just scored from the kickoff.
Stop telling me and the listeners about what's going on in the game. All right, and let's finish this up so that we can.
Are you watching this though?
No, I'm not, because I'm doing a podcast. I'm trying to do the podcast,
mate. It's liquid football. They've literally just. All right, it's like a FIFA goal that from Norway.
Yeah, they scored. Yeah. Oh, look at that. It's Thello Asgard. We've played against him a lot. There you go. I brought it back to Reading. He doesn't care.
Anyway, Mark Sugar, how can the EFL be so incompetent in arranging a Thames Valley derby? Thank you for calling it a derby, because that's exactly what it is. It's the same with Swindon. It's a derby.
100%.
Wycombe's not. Wycombe's not a derby.
Oh, well.
Well,
yeah,
it's,
only because they're small,
it's good to, cement these things. On a bank holiday weekend that has to be rearranged. Sorry, I just realised my voice went really high and squeaky then, so I was just getting so excited.
Yeah. He makes a good point, actually. It does make you wonder if they just chuck it into a big system and go, yeah.
Well, they're just idiots, aren't they?
Whatever,
Reading Festival, regardless of whether you're going or not, is one of the biggest festivals of the year, right?
Yeah.
Everyone knows it. Reading never play in Reading or a local, and because of policing issues, which I totally understand. But how the hell can you go, good one?
Yeah.
How is there not an algorithm that goes, don't do that. Don't put those teams together.
I mean, this is a lot of things. I'm not gonna bugger on about AI and what it's doing to data management and stuff like that. Whatever. People who know more than me can say more than me. I'm an idiot. Fun little odd thing I'll go to instead, because this is kind of funny. Until 2004, all of the Major League Baseball fixtures for the season were decided and plotted and planned out by a couple. Just like a husband and wife couple. They did it for 24 years. And part of why they did that is so they had people there to be like, no, you can't do a game. You can't do like a game. So that if, for instance, if like there was Mardi, you know, if there was a team in New Orleans, it's like, no, we're not doing a game like on Mardi Gras in New Orleans, because like that would be a disaster for the city trying to manage like both of these things at the same time. There used to be people there that would actually think these things out and have that human side of it. I'm sure there is too in like one of these systems, but the EFL are idiots, as we know. It's just good that we're not dealing with them in our ownership crisis anymore.
Christopher Hamblin, let's hope Lisbie doesn't do a lane.
Yes.
Abrefa shouldn't really. He's written, and this is obviously a typo. So he's written, let's hope Lisbie doesn't do a lane. A breast shouldn't really make the bench.
Wait, sorry. Shouldn't make the what?
The bench. He obviously means Abrefa, but he's written a breast.
I gotta work out if I can make that the YouTube thumbnail now. My God.
It gets worse. A breast shouldn't really make the bench. Be better loaned out with Ahmed game or more game. Oh, that's really stupidly made me laugh a lot.
Yeah.
I know you mean Abrefa, but you've literally written a breast.
Yeah, a breast can't make the bench. This is the men's football, all right? Go listen to the women's football. But no, sorry, I cut that.
And he puts Costa del Sol is Costa del Sol. Costa del Tilehurst is heating up not so nicely at the moment. I love it. I am sweating a lot because I'm upstairs, but this house is ridiculously warm as well. But I really like the heat.
You like
let's go back. Let's go back to Abrefa. We talked about him earlier on in the pod.
Yeah.
Do you feel that Lisbie is capable of surpassing what Lane did at the club or has done at the club?
Yeah. I mean, but it's odd, isn't it? Because, like, I think on the one hand, you've got, like, I think the mentality must be different. Because on the one hand, you've got a player who, you know, had done well in League One previously and then moved up to the Championship, you know, and obviously ended up making a move down to League One. Whereas in this case, with Lisbie, you've got a player who, like, lit up League Two and is now making the step up. And I just wonder what that, you know, what that momentum feels like for a player. You know, like, I think that the career of Paddy Lane had had almost like stalled a little bit at Portsmouth, right? Like he's still a young player, and when you lose some of that momentum as a young player, I think it can be tough to get back to it. The thing that I think that will help Lisbie kick on is that he did have a good season last year, and yes, we've spoken about the second half of the year was not as good, but at the same time, I think that, you know, now he's focused, now that he's where he wanted to be, we can expect him to do better. I did really think that Lane was trying his best over the end of the season, and confidence could help him to continue. I'm happy to have him as a backup option, but certainly for my starting wingers now, I think Chirwa and Lisbie are obvious starters.
100%. Final one, the Loyal Royal. Where does Lisbie rank in comparison to our current wingers, which I think you've just answered?
I would have him just under Chirwa, but very close to as good as Chirwa. Is my expectation, but we don't really know until we see him play, do we?
No, we don't know exactly right. Yeah, love the pod, guys. Great work. Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
That's very kind.
Even when Ben's wearing a France shirt.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Got a cow on it, hasn't it?
It has. Well, that shirt has got a cow on it. Yeah, it's like a tapestry. It's a great shirt.
Right.
We're gonna cross over to World Cup Waffle, international version of World Cup Waffle. Obviously, every pod we do is technically international because Ross is from a foreign land.
I have a zip code and Ben has a postcode.
Exactly right. RG31 if anyone's interested. But we have got the guys from the Friggin Soccer Show, and that is actually the name of it, which is a fantastic name, Shawn and Charles, which you kind of moonlight for as well, don't you? Because you're on pods everywhere.
and just a heads up, friggin is I know it sounds rude. It's a word that is used quite a lot by people up in New England. So don't
Is it
worry
like
about it.
bloody? That
Yeah,
bloody soccer show?
exactly. It's a bloody this. Yeah. That's actually a
Yeah,
very
fun.
God. You're smart, aren't you? That's a good
Yeah,
comparison.
I
Yeah,
try.
good. Hmm.
So we're gonna
Not
do
a
that
bit cool.
segment now. Hope you enjoy it because should be good. Welcome back to the Tilehurst End podcast. We're very special World Cup waffle this week. Obviously, the last few weeks it's just been myself and Ross talking about what we've seen, talking about all the kind of things that have been going on at the World Cup of football. Not soccer, boys, not soccer. We are joined today by Shawn and Charles from the Friggin Soccer Show, which, to be honest with you, is one of the greatest names I've ever heard for a football product, if you like, an audio and visual product. Gentlemen, first of all, how are you both?
I'm doing well, Ben. Thanks for having us on. And, we have been, doing some podcasting there with Ross over on the Friggin' Soccer Show. And, we got kind of started, becoming friends with Ross. And Ross is like, hey, you know what? I got a podcast too. And I think it would be great to have you guys on and do a little bit of a crossover and talk a little bit of World Cup. So we're certainly happy to be here
Hell
and
yeah.
talk a little World Cup.
Hell
Good
yeah.
stuff. And you, Charles, you're looking splendid, mate. I have to say,
Thanks.
honestly.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I know it's very American. I'm trying to play that up. It's surprised it's not red, white, and blue on the side, but it is a Hearts hat, which is our local football club, as you would say. I like to call it football as well. Unfortunately, the country's a bit backwards. So, but thank you guys for having me. Super excited to be here. Appreciate it.
While we're obviously there's going to be a lot of like England and USA chat and no Wales chat. Sorry, Ben. But one of the funny things that I always like to point out is that the English called it soccer until like the 80s, and then they just stopped and they were like, all right, it's football now, because like all of the other kinds.
Thing, wasn't it? Like it was an acronym, an abbreviation for.
Yeah.
I've read about the history of it because it cracks. It's funny. Yeah.
Right.
But
Right.
It's got to be football.
British people choosing to be snobby at certain points. That's
just about the time the U.S. was really starting to get a foothold in this thing called soccer, and then
Right.
England goes, you know why it's football now, guys.
Yeah.
Joke's on you. Joke's on you.
Very much so. All right,
Well,
so
listen,
go
we'll
ahead.
talk a little bit about your product later on and where we can find you, because it is genuinely good stuff. Obviously focuses on your local club, which is the Hearts of Pine. We focus on our local club, or certainly our fan base, which is obviously the mighty Reading Football Club, which are now internationally renowned because you guys are on here. Ross has got a starting question about the World Cup to begin with.
Yeah.
Great tournament so far. Ross, what you got for us?
Yeah, so a big, important night coming up, obviously, in the World Cup. Big, important night in the Portland summer coming up. Charles and Shawn, will you be going to the Portland Sea Dogs soccer night that's just been announced for the World Cup?
That sounds amazing.
And the Sea Dogs are a baseball team, just for any clarification.
Sounds decent.
Yeah.
Baseball is a lot of fun to be at a baseball stadium. I will say that. Like I grew up in Western Pennsylvania, so it's Pittsburgh Pirates were a big thing. Not as big as the Pittsburgh Steelers, the American football team, but the Pirates had a great stadium. And being in the stadium is fun, at least for me, but for like 3 innings. But it's a 9-inning game. So I'll just say that, like, I grew up playing baseball and soccer. Like a lot of kids play baseball, quickly fell out of love with it because of how friggin' boring the game is. And I was like shortstop. But baseball in America, when you're a kid, you're just throwing the ball as hard as you can at other kids' heads anyway. So all that was unnecessary, but that's my background with baseball. I won't be going, although it sounds super fun. I really want to support, our local baseball team, and I like that they're tying it into the World Cup, but it's an hour and a half south, and all of my travels revolve around supporting my local football team. So baseball doesn't get me. Are you going to go, Shawn?
No, not for me. I've got very, very similar feelings about baseball as you, Charles, and a story with a buddy of mine revolves exactly at that same pitch count, if you will, at the three inning mark, where I was completely invited. He's like, just get in the car. He's like, I got some beer. I got free tickets. He's like, let's just go. I'm like, all right, cool. I got nothing else better to do today. And about midway through the 3rd inning, I looked at him and I'm like, you enjoying this? He's like, God, no. Like, let's get out of here. I'm like, all right, let's go. So for me, yeah, baseball, not my cup of tea. And it all depends on kind of what you're looking for an experience, right? A lot of families, young families kind of go out and they're just looking to soak up a little bit of sun and just sit back and just kind of watch the show, a very, very slow paced game. And they're good with it. And for me, that's not what I'm looking for when I go and watch a match. I want to see some action. And that's kind of why we do the soccer thing.
Hell yeah.
Ross, as opening questions go, that's probably one of the worst ones we've had, isn't it? They've just killed you there, to be honest. Are you going? No, definitely not.
No,
Are you going?
I will throw baseball a little bit of love with the World Series. The World Series is fun. It probably shouldn't be called the World Series.
Right.
Anyway, in America, we're all about America. So the World Series, those final games, just playing each other, I think that's actually a lot of fun. It works. That's baseball's got that going for it. As far as I'm concerned, hot dogs, they're good. $20 beers, not so much. And yeah, after 3 innings, you're just cooked unless you really love the sport. So.
Charles, can you talk a little bit? I think that like people are aware in England that and in the UK that like soccer is growing in the US and has been growing for quite a long time. Obviously, we remember Diana Ross missing her penalty at USA '94 very well in England. But can you kind of like talk about how like even over the last 10 years things have even like continued to grow in America?
Sure. So I'm 40 years old. And, most of my childhood was in the 90s. Obviously, I just made it at the end of the 80s. I've been a lifelong football fan, played at the highest level I could get to, got to play in England for a little bit. So, but just as a little bit of background, because my whole life, everybody's been telling me as an American, like, our story has been, it's only a matter of time until we kick ass. Like, it's going to happen. That's just, it's never changed. It's like, we have the best athletes in the world. We've got such a big population, we're not going to get destroyed by Croatia for very long, right? They've got 10 people, we've got billions. So that's been the narrative, and we've not figured it out. It has not changed. And I've seen our youth system. I had a little bit of experience playing at the academy system in England, and there's no comparison. And how we go to college to play, that's very often our route to professional sports. It's changing now. That's what I would say has changed a bunch, is like the academy systems coming into the MLS and people caring about the MLS. Like, I should care about the MLS because I'm an American. I'm a huge football fan. I've been my whole life. And I never have cared about the MLS. And I never will. Now, our USL system, my Portland, Maine, getting a local team has made me care about soccer. And I think getting youth teams, or getting local teams with smaller stadiums. I love what we have going on with a packed 5,500, 6,500 stadium. That grass level is how you grow soccer in this country, I think. Sorry, football. See? And that's what's changed. Now, that's only been in the last couple of years. In the last 10 years, though, I guess that MLS system has changed. The academy's coming in. It does feel to me like it's really changing. So even though I say, like, overall it feels stagnant for the past 30-plus years, the story, I actually do feel like maybe we're starting to see things. And I always thought it would take Americans getting over to Europe, actually playing for some of the top clubs to see a difference.
Yeah.
I think we finally are getting there. I mean, if you watch the opening, I've never seen, I'm not that excited to watch the United States. I will, of course, support the United States, but I have never watched us at an international game and come away from that opening game against Paraguay and been like, holy shit. We look fabulous. We're dangerous.
A real team.
We're speedy. We look like we play well all over the pitch. So I was blown away actually by our performance so far. I'm not going to tell you we're going to win the World Cup, but a lot of Americans think we are right now, which is great.
Yeah.
I'd love to be proven wrong, but yeah, sorry, that was probably too much. But
no, good. Shawn, let's talk a little bit about those opening 3 games. Obviously, you're done and dusted now in terms of the group stage. We've got 2 days left of the groups before we kick into the weird round of 32, which I think everyone is still trying to get their calculators out for.
Yeah.
The third place, especially if you're a Scotland fan as well. I think you've got like a 5.67% of going through. Obviously, incredible game against Paraguay. I watched the game against Australia a week ago. I thought it was a solid performance. And obviously last night came a little bit unstuck against the Turkey side that in reality had nothing to play for but pride. Has it been a surprise to you and kind of people connected to the Hearts of Pine and within your area about how you've kind of comfortably got through the group? And Charles has said you're not going to win the whole thing, but do you feel that there is depth in this American team to go potentially quarters, semis, for example?
Yeah, and I think we do have some depth, and I think what we saw against that match against Turkey is basically, Coach Pochettino really wanting to dig into the depth of his roster and put him out there on the pitch and get 90 minutes and do as many legs as he possibly can, knowing the next match is going to be a knockout match in the round of 32, and of course he's got eyes beyond that, and where do I think a good ending point for U.S. men's national team in this World Cup is? I think realistically, we have shown that we are air quotes regulars, air quotes, in the round of 16. And I think round of 16, if we went there and got out, I think we'd probably be a little disappointed. I think we'd be like, we've been here. We brought in Coach Pochettino to get back to the round of 16 and see another exit. So I think, with that being said, I think quarterfinals is probably the mark where we can be like, all right, job done. Second time we've ever been to a quarterfinal, unless you want to go way back 100 years ago,
Right.
which I think that's just not really part of our history if we're going to measure ourselves against anything. So I think quarterfinal, I think, is probably the right spot for this U.S. men's national team, and that'd be job done. Anything beyond that is just dreamland.
What
Yeah,
has
I think
to go ahead, Ben?
we talked a little bit, didn't we, Ross, around some of your individual players or the USA's players. One player that's really stood out, I think, to people I talk to over here about watching the World Cup is Balogun, in terms of his impact, and not just the 2 goals he scored. I think it's 2 goals, but his overall attitude on the pitch and the way that he kind of holds the ball up really well, brings others into play, and he's very, very direct. We're talking about surprises with Shawn, Ross, but is Balogun one of those players that you guys, and anyone can answer this really, would you have picked him out to have had as good a start to the World Cup as he has, or has he kind of just come out of nowhere because he was a name that wasn't really known in this country?
Yeah, let's ask Charles that, because I think Balogun kind of like came into the team, did like hit the ground running massively in America, and then sort of faded a little bit, but has really been great in the World Cup so far. Did you expect that from Follering?
No, total surprise for me. But Shawn's probably following things more than me. Like I'm not a diehard American soccer fan. So Pulisic is my boy, and especially there's a Pennsylvania connection there too. So I just wasn't. I didn't expect anything, Ross and Ben. To be honest, like I was like, if we had lost our opening games, I would have been. That was kind of my expectation, was the bare minimum. So I'm invested now, though. Like I'm paying attention now.
Yeah,
that's the best thing I could say.
I think for me, if I was to answer the question on the Balogun deal, are we surprised about Balogun and what he is putting out there for an effort in this World Cup? Yeah, I think I would be. I think I would be a touch surprised because going back into the friendlies, leading up into the World Cup, he had a certain flair about him in terms of the speed, turning on the half, trying to turn a corner on people and use his speed to get in behind. And we've seen a lot of different types of play from Balogun. In addition to that, that he has showed in this World Cup, and showed against a Paraguay side that is a very, very defensive, break me down if you can type of side. And we saw what they did in a lot of the qualifiers going into the World Cup against some really big teams in the world, right? And so going into that matchup, I wasn't expecting a 4-1 beatdown for the United States. I think that's a very small boat if anyone can realistically say, oh yeah, I was expecting a 4-1 against Paraguay. There's not a lot of people in that boat.
Do you remember, like, I'm obviously casting you to cast your mind back now, but do you remember like what score you kind of predicted for that game going into it?
Against
a 1-1.
Yeah, I was honestly, I was hoping like a 1-0. I was hoping we would break through at some point during the match, probably late, probably 70th minute plus type deal is what I was thinking. And then we would eventually wear them down and kind of, get one in there and get through Paraguay 1-0. And certainly, even though it was an own goal, the U.S. scoring in the 7th minute was a bit of a surprise. And then to come back and just put 3 more on them on either side of halftime and then late, right? So, and the one additional thing that I'd like to talk to with how Balogun is performing in the World Cup, how that opens things up for Pulisic over on the left-hand side. And Pulisic predominantly being very much an introvert, not really loving being the guy, if you will. That whole thing about, Captain America and all that sort of stuff, he shied away from that stuff. He's a very, very good player, obviously, right, with everything that he's doing. But with Balogun taking some of that spotlight off of him, I think Pulisic gets a chance to play a little more free and take chances on stuff that he wasn't able to do before because the pressure was on his shoulders.
I think looking at the bracket at the moment, one of the only scheduled locked-in games is yours against Bosnia. I obviously hate Bosnia because we lost them in the playoffs. So I just compare the fact that it could be America and Wales, which would be a repeat of the last World Cup in a group game that we had. Within that bracket, though, as it stands, it's going to be Egypt and South Korea. If it ended now, obviously that's likely to change. You have to fancy your chances, right, against Bosnia in the round of 32, and then either Egypt or South Korea in the next game. Like that's a pretty good draw for you, right, Charles?
I think so. I was just talking to one of my friends. I didn't realize that we were set to play Bosnia. I was like, "What's the next game?" So I said, "Yeah, it looks like a pretty good draw." And Egypt or South Korea. I think it's the best chance we're gonna get. For having to get as far as we can, and try to get later into the rounds, as Shawn said. So, I personally am actually almost feel like we've met expectations. Just winning those 2 games in the style we have, I will take it as an American, like wanting the men's game to improve in this country. So the further we get, the better. I mean, the dream exists, but I still feel like we're dreaming. So I just want to see positive performances like that because I'm so proud of them already.
Do you know what's wild is I thought this has got to be the first time the Americans have won the group, right? And then I was like, oh no, wait. There was 2010. And who was in their group that year? The 3 Lions, which I have a fun memory of that game for you guys. Obviously, Rob Green, who fumbled the American goal into the back of the net in 2010. He's a commentator now in America, and he's actually pretty good at it as well. Fun fact for Americans, the ITV coverage of that game on that day cut out and went to adverts during Steven Gerrard's goal. Yeah, which in 2010 was this an early portent of the hydration break, maybe, and what the Americans are going through here. And I guess Shawn, can you kind of just tell English listeners what those hydration breaks look like for Americans watching on Fox Sports?
Rush, you're kind of showing the roots of the issue that we're going through here right now. It all goes back to England. That's what I'm learning.
Yep.
So the hydration breaks here in the United States has been driving in my circles anyway. Been driving a lot of people to the Spanish channels and watching the World Cup on the Spanish-speaking channels because they will hold the cameras onto the pitch and they'll be doing some commentary and how the first 25 minutes have been going. And it's predominantly what you usually see in the Premier League when they choose to have water breaks when the temperature is really, really warm, right? But no, on the English-speaking channels, which I think is largely carried by Fox, they go to commercial. They go to commercial for some 2 minutes plus sometimes. Some instances coming back from commercial and they've already begun play. And you've missed who knows how many seconds, maybe even a minute or so of play of the World Cup match. And that has rubbed people the wrong way for obvious reasons. And seeking out some Spanish-speaking channels so we can at least watch what we want to watch.
Yep. Ben, guess the name of the Spanish channel, please.
I'm not even gonna.
Could be in
I
bad
know about
territory
3
very
words in
quickly.
Spanish, and that's about it.
We briefly had a feature on this show last year called El Endo de Tilehurst, where Ross spoke Spanish on camera. And we killed that after about 2 weeks, and we realized that I was just being mildly racist, mostly on camera. So that's done. What do you guys think then we have to ask of England's chances in this World Cup? Obviously, so far, we had a pretty impressive offensive performance, not an attacking performance, an offensive performance in the first game against Croatia, a little bit weak on the defensive side, and then just kind of shut out entirely by Ghana in the second game. But I guess for you guys as outsiders, do you see England as one of the favorites in the World Cup, or are they sort of in that second rung of teams, I guess?
Definitely second rung.
I always think you guys are stacked. You have so much talent. I think on paper you should win quite a few World Cups that you have not done that well in. So I fully expect you guys to underperform.
Yeah,
Drop out as soon as possible with some of the best players in the world.
That was drier than a game with no hydration break. I loved it.
It's difficult. I mean, Ghana, you think about the last game, Ghana made it very difficult for England to play. They restricted a lot of the movement, particularly down the left-hand side. There was a lot of talk in the media and post-match around Spence and Gordon in particular. So they just couldn't get the width going. And it's really difficult. Like you talked about England being stacked, Charles, and I'd agree with that. I mean, Harry Kane's one of the best, if not the best, strikers in the world. Haaland, you could probably put up there as well, but it just didn't seem to click. And I think, from talking to people here, there was a bit of a kind of weirdness around not taking Cole Palmer in particular, because who doesn't want to see, no one wants to see Cole Palmer coming on the pitch 20 minutes from the end of the game when you're knackered and you're sweating out of everything and all this kind of stuff. He can turn a game, and they just seem very, very conservative in the game against Ghana. Agree with Ross, against Croatia, I thought they were very, very good, particularly second half, and a lot's been made of what was or wasn't said at half time. But Croatia are a good side, and I think the problem is the inconsistencies. They're pretty much done and dusted in that group anyway. But Panama won't just roll over, and the expectation always, like you said, Charles, with outsiders, is that England should do well, and that's definitely the feeling in the country. They always need to do well, and they never really do. So it's going to be interesting how their kind of their journey pans out. At the moment, they're scheduled to meet Ecuador, which is not a great game on paper given what they did
England,
yesterday. So it's going to be tough for them. They could have Mexico or Scotland in the next round. It's unlikely to be Scotland, obviously, but you don't want to be playing Mexico. Hence the reason I'm wearing this, obviously. So it's just one of those. It's very, very difficult. I mean, away from those two sides, Shawn, is there anyone else that you've looked at and gone, they're a decent side?
So any other ones that are a decent side that I view in the World Cup, is that the question?
Yeah.
Yeah, so for me, I'm going to go with my dark horse, which I thought maybe I was, maybe on a small boat on this one, pun intended. But as I found out as the World Cup started kicking off, I got a lot of company on Norway. So Norway, I think, in my opinion, as I get a shake of the head from my counterpart, I think they can make some noise. Now, I'm not sitting here telling you Norway can win the whole thing. That's not what I'm telling you, right? But I am saying that I think Norway could make a nice run into the round of 16 and maybe even the quarterfinal. I think they got enough firepower in and around Holland where they can probably make some noise. And if they get in, face maybe one of the big boys early on, maybe the balloon gets popped on them and all that fun stuff, right? But if they get halfway decent draws, I can see Norway making it to the quarters.
Yeah, I could as well. And it's worth noting,
Holland,
go ahead, Charles.
A couple days ago, and he was hilarious. He can be pretty funny.
He's a funny guy.
He's brilliant. I love him.
But I respect the hell out of his athleticism, and the dude is a Viking with a baby face. An interesting combination, but he's kind of like a Norwegian horror film. This big giant elk monster that has this little child face on the front of it. But anyway, Who did he said, oh, they'll probably beat us. I think, I don't know, I want to say he was talking about France or
France.
something.
Yeah.
Was it France? Yeah.
It was France. Yeah.
So, yeah, I think if they, the Giants are going to give Norway problems. But I do love Norway. I have Norwegian family. My cousins they come to Maine in the summer. So
Nice.
as of next week, I'll have 5 Norwegians with me daily, and they're going to be,
So you can start rowing.
I was going to say, we could be doing the row celebration then.
The row showed up at a Hearts game last week, and the Hearts already do the clap. I was like, we got to stop stealing stuff from the Norwegians. Like, we're not Vikings. If anything, there's probably more little tiny Irish people in Maine, so I don't know what we can pull from them.
Were either of you guys near the Scotland fans that were singing "No Portland, No Party" on Wednesday night?
No.
Yeah, there was a small contingent of Scottish fans going around the game the other night, which was great to see.
Up from Boston to find more beer or something.
Yeah, the whole city's out. They got to come up here now.
Wringing out their kilts of sweat from coming back from Miami.
My word, that is not a good combination at all. All right, so to finish our World Cup segment, what we've been doing every week is opening stickers. Have either of you guys ever been World Cup sticker people?
No.
Gifts. I never bought.
Come on, boys. This is what we do. We love a sticker.
It feels like you're playing FIFA.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's fine too. So, what we're going to do for today, for a little game to end on here, is I'm going to open these right next to the camera. There you
go. You got to get that in there.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to read them out, or I'm going to show them to you. Oh, I got another digital pack, Ben. And what you're going to do for us is make up a piece of backstory or stat or anything you like for this person, basically. So you can say anything at all that you like. We're going to start with Ben here, who has to go through these players. This is going to be a good one. All right. Oh, God. Okay. All right. Here we go. Ben, you're going first with the wonderful, from Brighton Hove Albion, Bart Verbruggen from the Netherlands.
So what people don't realise about Bart is that seagulls are quite common in Brighton.
Yeah.
And he actually runs, it's like a seagull sanctuary just on the south coast of Brighton. And he basically goes around all of the local bakers and shops after he's finished training with Brighton Hove Albion. Don't know why I'm saying the whole team, but it's 2 places. And he just gets donations of bread, and he's really, really well known in the local community. Obviously, he's at the World Cup now, so what he's done is he's asked one of his teammates at Brighton just to look after the seagull sanctuary while he's away. But it's incredible what he does, broken wings, cracked beaks, one-eyed birds flying around. He just looks after them and then releases them back on the beach to terrorise day trippers for their chips and gravy. So he's incredible, Bart. He does a lot for the Brighton community, and he's really well thought of down there on the south coast.
Nice. You mentioned I'll go next. You mentioned chips and gravy. Right here we have Canada's, what's his name? Matthew Chonier, a man who can eat an entire plate of poutine in less than 45 seconds. So that's a good one. Charles, you're up next, and you have a player that I know that you know very well. You have Ghana's Abdul Isahaku Fatawu. Any stat or piece of backstory you'd like for the Ghanaian?
Yeah, Fatawu was really interesting because he recently came out of a pretty bad divorce. So I heard though that the divorce is recent enough though that she has to be president at the World Cup. So I think he's just arranged to have her on the other side of the pitch as far away as possible, pushing him into position.
Nice.
So if my heart goes out to him, he's probably going to lose half of everything he has. But he'll have a good World Cup, and when he gets home, he can finalize that. But hopefully, just use that dying relationship as the impetus to kick on and do well. So my heart goes out to him.
Excellent. Shawn, you have the Colombian maestro, 2014 Golden Ball winner, I believe, James Rodriguez. Where's he playing these days? He's not playing anywhere these days. You have James Rodriguez.
Yeah, so James basically golden. You said a golden ball winner.
I think he's a golden ball winner. Yeah.
Golden Ball winner. So really, perfected his craft. In the family farm down there in Colombia, and he's looking to kind of take over that after football. I think that's probably getting in the way of his club side. So just kind of really sticking with the national side of things right now, and staying close to the roots. And I think it's probably going to be kind of hard to turn down the millions of dollars or pounds as it would be after the World Cup. With his performance out there, he's probably going to have to start choosing. Maybe I got to kind of get something squared away with the home life. I got to go chase these big contracts there. They're going to be coming into me, and with the farm, in mind at the end, he's going to go make the money to kind of come in and bring it into the farm and build it up the way he wants. And I think being able to use his craft to build up a family farm like that is just absolutely a great story.
So you have alpacas on that farm?
I believe that's when they're going to use the money for. They're going to start bringing some alpacas in there, Charles. Yeah.
Wonderful.
They cost money, man. Alpacas are expensive.
It's an
we can train on the farm, like Maradona style, just like sprinting next to fences and hopping over ditches and.
Yep. Never ever wearing a piece of synthetic workout material ever. Wonderful. Guys, that was excellent.
Strengthens the ankles, I'm told. Strengthens the ankles.
There you go. Plowing fields is good for you if you're a striker. All right. Well, that was really, really fun, guys. We really appreciate you coming on. So please, obviously, Ben, you mentioned at the start, there's great videos and things like that on the channel.
I mean, gents, plug, whoever wants to go first, plug what you do. Where can our listeners potentially find you and reach out? What channels are you on? How did it come about, basically?
Yeah. So, I mean, we met each other through the Dirigo Union, which is the supporters group for the Portland Hearts of Pine. And our podcast started as the Dirigo Union podcast. They didn't have one going. And I know Shawn has some background in sports, and I had some podcast background. And we've been joined recently by Ross. We also have Rob on the show. We used to have a gentleman named Mitchell, and a gentleman named Donald is still involved. So we've got a great little team, and you can find us on YouTube primarily. YouTube /@Friggin Soccer Show, Instagram, the Friggin Soccer Show, and those are primarily where we post stuff, and we try to have a lot of fun with it. We have some studio access here with Kurt, who is a friend of Ross's as well. So Ross has been a huge addition to the team, not just because of his accent. He actually knows what he's talking about. We try to get him to cut his hair, but I can't talk the way I look, so we allow him on the show anyway. But yeah, find us there. If you have any interest in a third division, like you guys follow Reading, the EFL League One, we're the USL League One, also third division. Our team's in the middle of the table, your team's in the middle of the table. We can all suffer, complain together. So check us out over there. Shawn, anything else you want to plug that I missed?
No, I think you got the lion's share of it, and just a little bit about the Hearts of Pine over in USL League One. Last year was our initial year, and we toiled through the first half of the year, much like we are this year. We ended up in the semifinals last year in our very first, our rookie year, if you will, so to speak, right? Yeah. So we were out in the semifinals of the playoffs, and this year we're toiling again, but for different reasons, with injuries and so on, right down our spine, striker and attacking midfielder and CDM, and all those fun places to have major injuries. We're just about getting ready to hopefully to turn things around with a 5-1 score line there against the Richmond Kickers, and hopefully we're gonna be pointing this thing in the right direction and start gather points and get up to the playoff line again.
Awesome. Yeah. And you can watch it. Sorry, Ben. I was just going to say real quick, you can watch the Hearts of Pine games too in England. I think on YouTube or ESPN Plus or Hulu.
YouTube. You can catch them on YouTube.
There you go. Yeah.
That's so right. Watch a young Englishman in America applying his craft. Trying to make the game better.
Yes, that's actually a very good point. The Hearts, one of their best players.
The rest of your friggin' country. Sorry, guys.
All right, that's a great.
Ben's like, very good, very good.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
take
well,
that. Thank you.
I'm not gonna. Yeah, it's fine, fine by me. Listen, gents, really, really good to have you on. It's great to have a crossover. Great to talk to like-minded. I say creators. That sounds very, very influencer, doesn't it? But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I hope you continue to enjoy the World Cup. I would say stay cool, but you're probably used to the temperatures you get out there. We're not.
It's not hot over here.
No, it's not that bad over here right now.
Hydration breaks are complete BS. We're changing the sport so that we can do well in this World Cup. I should have said that earlier. We had to make it. We just had to fundamentally change the game into quarters, and then we'll probably win the whole thing. I can't imagine how that feels as British people to watch the game be fundamentally changed. And shame on FIFA, shame on us. If the U.S. does win it, I feel like it's going to be looked back on as the whatever you want to call it World Cup, like the fake World Cup with the advertising breaks and the quarters. But as an American, I feel the same. It's heinous to break soccer, football, the beautiful game, into 4 quarters. So I'm just saying, I think it stinks. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. Well, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. You won't get any arguments from this corner here. Really, really good to have you on. I'm sure this won't be the last time we have you on. As I said, check out the Friggin' Soccer Show. Got my words wrong. The Friggin' Soccer Show. How's that for pronunciation? They're everywhere. Instagram, YouTube. Have a little look. As Ross said, you can watch the games on YouTube as well if you're interested in that, because Ross bangs on about it enough on these podcasts. Have a really good weekend. You're not playing until, I think, the 2nd, isn't it?
My birthday, I think it is, July 3rd. Yeah, it's a while.
Yeah. So you should be all right with that. Have a good one, gents. Really, really glad that you could join us, and hopefully we will see you soon.
All right, thanks for the time, guys.
That was the guys from the Friggin' Soccer Show and Ross. Good guys, good eggs. They know their onions football-wise, soccer-wise, shall we say. Yep. If you do want to check out the Hearts of Pine stuff, I mean, Ross has plugged it enough, and we just thought, let's just kill out the middleman and get us all together in a virtual room and talk stuff. So hope you enjoyed that. We'll do some more collaborations as the season rolls on for us anyway. That pretty much wraps up episode 463. It's very, very hot in England, as you all know. Stay safe, stay hydrated, drink some Siren craft brew.
Get your Lucozade Sport.
Shanga.
Oh,
nice.
Actually, sorry. Drink your Siren craft brew.
Nice.
Sorry, I shouldn't be going.
Enjoy the rest of the World Cup this weekend. England play, well, today, because this will be for you on Saturday morning. Yeah, we'll see what they do, really. We're into the round of 32 by the time we record next week. Let's hope we've got another signing or two to talk about. Lads should be back in training on Monday as well, so there might be a bit of footage, a bit of conversation around there in terms of news nuggets that we can use. Ross, have a really, really good weekend. We are fast approaching the weekend here in the UK. I'm sure you are just a little bit behind in America if you're into time zones.
I am indeed almost in the weekend, and I'm looking forward to it. I hope you all enjoy whatever nuggets are coming your way this weekend, Reading fans.
Exactly. Have a really good weekend. Look after yourselves, look after each other. And we will see you next time on episode 464 of the Tilehurst podcast. Come on, you Oz.